this behind me, please. No, this. Don't worry, no, come on. Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is 3 o'clock exactly, and we start our live meeting, as usual, every now and then. Live meeting, having coffee with the ambassador. I have already my coffee here. I hope you have yours. Relax and let's have this dialogue, which I really appreciate very much. We consider the dialogue, the contact between the embassy and the citizens of Croatia from all parts of Croatia very important. And I thank you very much for taking the time and coming and watching and participating. Before we go to your questions, which we have already received, and they are very interesting ones, I would like to tell you, to share with you some thoughts, because this is today is the eve of Shoah, Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Memorial Day in Israel. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock there will be a siren for 2 minutes all over the country, in which the country will stop, actually stop working and driving and meetings, and stop the work at the working places. For 2 minutes, we will remember the 6 million Jewish people who were systematically murdered during the Holocaust all over Europe. This is our Yom HaShoah. Shoah is the Hebrew word for the Holocaust, and we are obliged to remember the 6 million brothers and sisters who perished, who, as I said, systematically were murdered by the Nazis and their collaborators all over Europe. There are in Israel 5,000 survivors who live with us in Israel. And this is the data which is updated today. Every year, 14,000, more than 14,000 people have passed away. On average, is 41 survivors every day. Every day. Those who live with us in Israel, the survivors, their average age is 84.5. So the Shoah, the Holocaust for us, even when we will celebrate our 73rd anniversary as an independent and democratic country next week, the Holocaust, the Shoah, is part of our identity. In every identity card of an Israeli, the Shoah is engraved in it, and we are obliged not to forget, to remember, to work very hard to protect our democracy, because we know that through democracy, Nazi Germany has changed and become this monster which we saw between 1933 and 1945. So tonight in Israel, all shops and cinema houses and all places in which you can have a good time, so to speak, will be closed as their identification, their solidarity with this important day, the Holocaust Memorial Day, which we'll have tomorrow all over Israel. Also here in Croatia, on Thursday, the Jewish community will come together and remember the victims of Croatian Jewish community during the Holocaust. So I wanted to share with you some thoughts about it and give you some statistics. And as usual, we in Israel, we always have this combination, unique combination of happiness and tragedy. So we will now remember the tragedy which happened to us, to the Jewish people, and next week we will celebrate our independence as a Jewish and democratic country in Israel itself. And we invite you, of course, to celebrate with us and to remember with us today. So this is as far as today's speciality. This is a very special day for all of us, be it in Israel or be it in the diaspora or outside Israel, for an Israeli embassy or the Israeli embassies all over the world. Well, coming back to the topic of today, the questions, I see that most of the questions which I received are dealing with the issue of Corona, and you would like to know more about how Israel dealt with the Corona or has been dealing with the Corona. How we managed to do it, how we'll be able to go back to normality or to travel to Israel. Without naming names, but you know what, maybe I will name Mr. Miriana or Mrs. Miriana. Israel is a very important leader in the world when it comes to science, technology, and also democracy. Thank you very much. I think you're absolutely right. Sometimes we tend to take democracy for granted. We have to continue defending it. But we hear that Israelis feel threatened in their country through repressive imposition of vaccines against COVID-19, COVID passports, and various measures against pandemics that create inequality of the people. How do you deal with this situation and issues, and how would you solve the division among the people? Because it should be noted that there are an inevitable number of people who wanted to be vaccinated, which is their right. Is it clear to me that this epidemiological situation is inconvenient for everyone, but I would love to hear your opinion. Okay, my opinion is very clear. I think that what we have been witnessing in the last 1 year is the triumph of science over nature. We had this pandemic, and in 1 year, maybe less than 1 year, the best brains in the world, the scientists, have come together, and in a very short time, what is a year in history? It's nothing. So within 1 year, we have managed to have the vaccine against this pandemic, against this menace. And I had no hesitation whatsoever whether I should be vaccinated or not. I understand the fears, I understand the fact that people would like to take second thought about it. They would like to consider other possibilities. That's fine, that's fair. I have no objection to this. But to hear this fake news or ideas which have no substantial scientific proof to all of them, on one hand, and on the other hand, look at the millions of people who have been vaccinated until today with really marginal side effects and death. Unfortunately, one man or woman who passed away because of the corona or because of the vaccine is one too many. But if you take the whole picture, you see that, again, science have won over nature, and we have managed to contain this pandemic. In Israel, at least, the situation is almost as usual, as normal can be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that the number of people who are being infected is not growing. It's growing, but it's very, very small. It's less than 1% every day of the tests that we conduct. If we conduct 50, 70,000 tests a day and only 1.5% are coming positive, it's really something that one can live with it. So my personal point of view is or has been that go and get the vaccination. I am aware, very well aware of your concern, of those who really do not want to take it. But I think that they have to be also to take into consideration that they are part of the society, and they cannot endanger the majority of the people by not being vaccinated. So think about it, research, ask doctors, and I'm sure at the end of the day you will do what is good for you. But as I said, we are not living alone. We have responsibility for our families, for our friends, the people we work with. So the bottom line is, from my point of view, those who do not want to be vaccinated and has made this refusal to be vaccinated a kind of manifest, and in which they will go and be by all means against the vaccination process, I think it's a mistake. But this is me. I'm not a scientist, I'm a political scientist, but definitely I put my trust in those who have produced the vaccination, and I have only to say good words for them. Thank you for helping bringing the world back into normality. Those who do not want to be vaccinated, well, what can I say? So this is as far as there is a group in Israel of people who do not want to be vaccinated as a principle. Fine, those people are also object to take their children to be vaccinated against palms, against all polio or whatever other diseases which thank God have passed from the world. But you know, if it has become for them kind of their mission to prove that they are right and the vast majority of the people all over the world are wrong, good luck. Coming back to Mr. Irvin, how would you respond to the criticism that, ironically, the rejection of the COVID passport is, again, a model yellow star? Come on. What is happening in Israel with those who do not have a COVID passport? Well, they will bear the consequences, because if the basic condition, or one of the conditions to enter a theater show, or to see a movie, to watch a movie, or to participate in a live performance in one of the very good clubs in Tel Aviv or in Jerusalem, is to show your vaccination certificate, and if you don't have it, you will not go in. I think that's fair enough when the majority has to protect itself against those who became zealots in their objection of the COVID vaccination, or vaccination against the COVID, and they will have to bear the consequences. Unfortunately, yes, democracy is also the majority of the rules and has to take care of the minority, but sometimes the minority also has to protect itself against those who are endangering it. So, Mr. Irvin, I hope you will be vaccinated and you will have the COVID passport, and with the COVID passport, after Israel and Croatia will accept each other's, officially, each other's passport or certificate or whatever the name will be, you will be able to come and visit us in Israel. Ms. Sabina, Israel is a champion of vaccination against COVID-19. Yes, we are. How does the vaccination process continue, and what obstacles to health professionals encounter? Is there resistance to vaccination? Yes, there is. And what can we learn from the Israel example, and is it applicable to in Croatia? Thank you. Well, Ms. Sabina, the process of vaccination in Israel continues. The numbers are going down. I have with me the latest, excuse me for 1 minute, I will get the latest information regarding the number of those who have been vaccinated. Just 1 second. Until today, and the numbers are quite okay, 835,104 people have been infected by the corona. Yesterday, 303 were added. The number of those who are severely sick is 309. The day before yesterday, we had 314, so the number is going down. There are unfortunately 6,261 people who passed away. From the day before yesterday to today, to yesterday, there is no change. Thank God. 5,286,000 got the first dosage. 4,878,000 got the second one. So we see that the numbers are reaching almost, or they are reaching over the 50% of the Israeli population, which is 9.3 million as we speak today. Since yesterday, we have, as I said, -5 as far as people who were hospitalized yesterday, and that's it actually as far as the numbers are concerned. So we are not that bad as far as the statistic is concerned. There were, of course, obstacles also for the health professionals, people, doctors, nurses, and other health professionals were infected. Not all of them, but they were infected and by the pandemic, and of course had to be hospitalized. But yesterday, another good news came from Israel. Then the corona departments in most of the hospitals all over Israel are being closed. Yes, we're closing down the corona departments in the vast majority of the hospitals all over Israel. This is another sign that we are winning over the pandemic. One thing which I was not asked, but I think it's important to tell you, every Israeli should be proud of his Prime Minister, Netanyahu, who got in a very, very quick way, very fast way, so many vaccinations to be used for the whole segments of the Israeli population. Now we are checking the possibility to vaccinate also children from 12 years old up. Yes, the Prime Minister did a great job, and he was the first one to get as many as possible the vaccination. But the implementation of getting the population vaccinated has been done by the Ministry of Health, but also by the 4 HMOs, the health organizations, which are quasi-private organizations, which every citizen must be registered in one of them, one of the 4. And the fact that these 4 organizations have managed to organize and execute a wonderful system of vaccinating in no time. First of all, those who are older, or were older than 60 and 65, those are risk group or risk groups, and then the rest of the population. For many months now, whoever wants to be vaccinated, he doesn't have to call. He just goes. He just goes to the place and get the first shot, and then after 3 weeks, the second one. We are talking about Pfizer. So the infrastructure of health security in Israel is something that every Israeli is proud of, and we know that without it, we could not have been able to execute this great operation, this big or huge operation. There are people who criticize this system of private, semi-private health insurance, but it was started 73 years by the then socialist-oriented government of Israel, which thought that in the name of equality everyone should be insured, and it used to be criticized from the ideological point of view, but now we see that it bears fruits, and very positive fruits indeed. So, Ms. Sabina, I hope I answer your question. Going back to Mr. Dayan, I'm glad that the State of Israel has sent such a empathic... No, he's talking about me. Don't believe him. He said that I'm sympathetic, empathic, and approachable ambassador. No, don't believe him. I'm joking. This communication with social media, and I continue to be in touch with us. I invite you to continue to be in touch with us over the social media, over Twitter. Follow me, follow the embassy, Israel in Croatia, in one word, in Instagram. You will hear more, and more surprises are awaiting you, by the way. We are not done as far as activities presenting Israel via the social media to the public out there in all over Croatia. Do you feel as nice in Croatia as in Israel? Can you say that Croatia is your second home? Oh, come on. With all due respect to Croatia, home is only one. That's my hometown. That's my home in Israel, in Tel Aviv. I've been wandering all over the world for the last 40 years, from Africa to the United States, to Europe, and then to China, and then again to Europe. Europe is my second home, but my first and only home, which you and I understand what home means, is only in Israel. I was born there, my family was born there. I'm a Zionist. I believe in the idea of homeland for the Jewish people, which is Zionism, which is also the national movement of the Jewish people. So home is only one place. Yes, I feel very comfortable in Croatia. I've been traveling all over. Unfortunately, the corona stopped my business trips, official trips to some parts of the country, but unofficially, I think we have seen, my wife and I, most of the places and more that should be seen in Croatia, which is a beautiful country, has a lot to offer for the tourists, from the sea to the continental, and then you go down to Dalmatia, Dubrovnik, and I feel quite easy, quite relaxed in Croatia, and no doubt that once we finish our term here, Croatia will remain in our thoughts, in my mind. So thank you. Greetings from Slavonia, you sent me. Slavonia is also a place in which I like very much to visit. Slavonia has a great potential as far as agriculture is concerned, but not only. So we are pushing to have more and more cooperation in the field of agriculture, also in Slavonia. So thank you so much for your good words. It's always good to hear that someone is doing a good job, and but I still have a lot of things to do together with my team at the embassy. If you don't reach me, ask our PR department, or the culture department, or the consular department, or the economic department. Everyone is standing ready to assist, to give its best, or her best, to promote the relation between Israel and Croatia, between the citizens of Croatia and the citizens of Israel. Another question from Mr. Christian: what do you like most about Croatia, and what about Israel? Do Croatia and Israel have many similarities? Well, in Israel, I like basically to live in Tel Aviv. I've been living there for almost all my life. I'm a city boy. But from time to time, something for my soul, I go to Jerusalem. Actually, when I am in Israel, I have to go every day from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem because the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is located in the capital city of Israel, which is Jerusalem. And from time to time, I have the opportunity also to sneak out and to go and visit the old city, to visit Jerusalem, the new part of Jerusalem, the old part of Jerusalem, the old city, the Wailing Wall, and other very important places in the history of the three monotheistic religion. So for the soul is Jerusalem the best suitable place in the world to visit, but sometimes you to relax and to enjoy life, you have to live in Tel Aviv. So Israel, also from this point of view, is a unique place which you can have a nice combination between taking care of your hedonistic wishes, so to speak, and then you can also take care of your spiritual thoughts and wishes. So this combination is very much to my not to mention to go to the Galilee, to go to the desert Negev, to the Negev desert, which has already for many years stopped to be completely desert. It has become a place in which our agriculture shows that with persistence and with persuasion you can also overcome the dry desert and to make it bloom. So Israel is a place in which everyone can get whatever he wants, from the north snow and to the Red Sea scuba diving. Well, those who know Israel know exactly what I mean. So there are similarities between Israel and Croatia. First of all, the desire for independence, the desire for freedom. Well, the Mediterranean Sea is connecting us via the Adriatic Sea. So from this point of view, we have the same, more or less, the same food, the same culture, more or less. Israel is more in the Middle East, whereas Croatia is more toward Europe. But nevertheless, the water of the Mediterranean and the Adriatic are bring us together. I think the similarities is there. The potential for partnerships is always there, and I've been working very, very tirelessly in order to make this partnership, this potential partnership, coming true. From time to time, we had some successes. Sometimes you cannot succeed. You win some, you lose some, but the main idea is to go forward and to bring the citizens and the people from both countries together. Let's hope that the pandemic will be completely over and many citizens of Croatia will be able to go to Israel, not only as a pilgrim, but people who would like to do business and to visit as a tourist, because, as I said before, Israel is a combination of many things. Among them is old and new. You can be a pilgrim in Jerusalem, but then you can go to Tel Aviv or other cities in Beersheba, in Haifa, everywhere in order to do business, because religion is important, but life is also part you have to enjoy and to take care of yourself and your family. Mr. Sunica, sorry, it's a long question which talks about the judiciary and Croatia. Well, he talks about a problem which an Israeli investor has in Dubrovnik with Mr. Frankel and Eliyahu Koren, and he wonders how many more Israelis investors are interested in investing in startups in Croatia. Croatia must learn from Israel, of course. You are more than welcome. Not to learn, but to participate as partners. We are not in Israel looking down on the Croats and say, come and learn from us. No, we are ready to share our knowledge, and if you want it, you can have it. How can people who have a story, a vision, and a goal get the chance to present it to an investor? These are very important questions, no doubt, which are connected very much to the spirit of Israel, the spirit of innovation, which I have been advocating, promoting all the time since I came. Um, uh, Israeli investors interested in Croatia, how shall I put it? It's not my business to do this. It's not my responsibility. I would like to introduce Israeli Croatian investor investing in Israel. That's my role. Bringing Israeli investors to Croatia, it's the role of my colleague, the ambassadors of Croatia, of Hungary, of Germany, who are situated in Israel. They had to present the potentials in Croatia to potential Israeli investor and invite them here to see for themselves. But I'm doing also this. I'm working with all Israeli institutions concerned, ministries, to bring people here to see for themselves, to make this matchmaking between Croatian businessmen and Israeli businessmen. And this is work which we have to do together, but it has to start from Israel in this direction, from Israel to Croatia. I'm part of this process. Of course, I cannot sit idle and do nothing when I see that there is a potential, and I'm urging Israeli people to come, businessmen, to come here and to look for the possibilities, because the potential in Croatia is a very well kept secret. Everyone knows about Croatia regarding football, the Adriatic Sea, tourism, but the human capital of Croatia and the potential which is here, which I see, which I can identify, nobody hardly knows about it. So my duty is to talk about the potential of Israel, to encourage the Croatian citizens to go and visit Israel. But there is a vacuum here which someone has to fill in order to present the secrets and the potential of Croatia all over the world. So the more people know about Croatia from this point of view, the more people will be interested to come and to explore the possibilities of investing here in Croatia, be it Americans or be it Israelis or others. There is no doubt that Croatia must learn from Israel, not must, as I said, we are ready to share. But it's up to you, up to the Croatian citizens to take the challenge, pick up the challenge, and challenge me. I want to see people coming to me and telling me, providing that the time is normal, I want to go and learn. So go to Israel. We can arrange you business meetings there with potential customers, potential partners. And hallelujah, for the benefit of you. If you don't try, you will never know. So if you have a story, if you have a vision, don't give it up. Try to pursue it. And if you believe that Israel is a place for you, call us to the economic department at the embassy and ask for assistance to identify a contact person in Israel which might be able to help you to make your dream come true. If you have a dream, don't give it up, because the world, and now I'm being a little bit of kind of a philosopher, a world is based on dreams coming true. And actually, if we talk about the state of Israel, Israel became a state based on a dream of one person, of Benjamin Zev Herzl, many, many years ago at the end of the 19th century. He had a dream, he had a vision, he had a political target to make this Jewish state dream coming true. So, let's go on. Miss Josipa, do you like Otolgeni kitchen? Of course. I mean, I have the book. He also signed it for me when I was in Hungary as an ambassador. And if so, and we hope so, yes, as I said, I like it. What is your favorite recipe or dish? You know what? Let me be very frank. I consider eating as a must, like breathing air, like sleeping, like all the things you have to do. I'm not I'm not someone who really understands this nouvelle cuisine of today, and definitely I'm not watching this Master Chef reality program on television. It's far from me. I don't understand it, but I know to appreciate when I eat something good, be it fast food or be it nouvelle cuisine, 4-star or through 2 stars Michelin. So I cannot give you something specific from Otto Olgeni's kitchen, but I think the book is very interesting. The book is a must to everyone who wants to understand the kitchen of the Middle East, kitchen of Israel. And I think you're absolutely right. It's a good book for those who really like to eat and to play with the idea, to be creative when they have to deal with food and food ingredients. I like fish very much, for example, but that's it, or a good steak, but no more. Another question Ms. Josipa has, do you know Feldenkrais? Oh, of course. Feldenkrais system, go and look it up over Google, is a method, as you rightly write, on working on yourself and with the others, invented by Moshe Feldenkrais in the 60s. There is a famous photo of our first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, who stands on his head on the beach of Tel Aviv. And standing on the head is part of the Feldenkrais system. I'm not implementing it personally, but I know I have a good friend of mine, a Croat, someone who lives here, a lady who lives here in Zagreb, who is doing it on a regular basis. So I know it's something to try. I'm doing something else. I'm doing gymnastic to maintain my physical fitness. Pilates I was introduced only lately, and I'm sorry I should have done it before. Oh, it's snowing outside. The world weather is getting crazy in April. Snow. Okay. Feldenkrais is a very good system in order to preserve your internal and your physical strengths, and I recommend it very much. Of course, you have to consult with your doctor. Many greetings, and I hope the ambassador will be delighted with the slightly more casual issues. Thank you very much. This is really a nice, casual topic to talk about, and not to talk about the pandemic. You're absolutely right. Mr. Ivan asked me about the COVID passports. When will they be coming into a force, and will enable the both directions traffic of passengers from both sides, from Croatia and Israel? Well, we are working on this. This week, the government of Croatia has changed the rules and regulation regarding the entry of tourists, among other things, tourists to Croatia. There are some qualifications, among them those who have been vaccinated twice, and this applies also to Israeli tourists. Let's hope that, and I passed it to Israel. It was published in some Israeli newspapers that Croatia is actually open for Israeli citizens who are vaccinated and those who have recovered from the pandemic, etc., etc. So actually we don't need an official agreement, but I would like, as I said, to see many Croatian citizens going to Israel. And this is a problem because up till now Israel is still closed for foreigners to visit, and depending on the level of recovery from the pandemic, also the airport will be open for non-Israeli citizens. So I hope it will be, and then we'll reach an agreement regarding this green passport, and we will see more Croatian citizens in Israel itself. As I work, and even continues in the science system, I'm interested in whether bilateral calls for scientific project exchange of scientists, yes, and increased cooperation on mobility between Israel and Croatia will be organized. Why will be organized? They have been already organized since the very beginning. I don't know where exactly do you work or study, but Horizon 2020, which ended already, and Horizon Europe, and Mobility and Erasmus, and all those other programs are still applicable for cooperation between Israeli scientists and Croatian scientists. There are many cooperation in this between the universities and research institutions. Roger Bošković, for example, is cooperating in this framework and others with the Weizmann Institute. Give us a call, ask for more information about it, and do it, and you can be part of this very intensive, very important program, which is a win-win situation for both countries. Are there any calls issued to the Israeli Ministry of Science? Of course, for education, for foreign citizens, especially in the field of public health. Yes, in principle, yes. Give us a call whenever you have time to the embassy, to our culture department. Raise the question for her, with her, and she will be able to give you the information how to go about it. Definitely, there are programs for English-speaking students, also from Croatia. I received also another question. What can you say about Ilana Rachel Daniel's statements? What's this? The person who asked the question, please give me more clarification about it. I don't know what you are talking about. Okay. Yes, one question. Have I watched Yaakov Sandler? No, I haven't watched Yaakov Sedler's documentary for Mossad to Eichmann about Rafi Eitan. No, I haven't watched, unfortunately. I think I covered all the questions which were sent to me. I suggest we'll take a 2-3 minutes break, and we'll come back. We'll accumulate some more questions, and we'll get back to you in 2 to 3 minutes. We take, how do you say it? You take a commercial break right now. Where is...